Hey guys, welcome to We Watch the Movie. I'm Jay, Stan, Mike, and we're bringing you Poltergeist. Oh my god, it's scary. It really wasn't. But here we go.
I don't understand!
1982. Produced by Steven Spielberg, directed by Tobe Hooper, famed for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Holy freak, could you get any better? I think you could. It's called Ghostbusters, but we're not going to go into that, even though the special effects did look like Ghostbusters. Yeah. Carol Ann, this little cutesy girl, 5-year-old, 6-year-old girl, lives in this house with her mother and father, their 16-year-old daughter, and their son. And some crazy shit starts happening for no reason. The TV goes to static, voices start happening, there's a demon there, she gets sucked up in the TV, and they're looking for her. They have to bring in paranormal investigators to find out what the fuck is going on, and you uncover a lot of crazy shit that happened in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like a lot of nasty shit.
Yeah. Well, the amazing thing about this movie is that it ties this weird... It has... yes. It has this weird...
Luigi!
It has this weird tie in between. It's this blockbuster film.
Yeah.
I mean, produced by Steven Spielberg. And it's tied in with this creepy Amityville horror type feel. And it's just like both worlds at the same time. You got this creepy ghost feel. You got this little girl who's cute as can be, who's an amazing little actress, channeling these spirits to this TV set.
Well, she's not channeling them.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, she's attached to them somewhat. Yeah. And it's like both of these horror worlds at the same time come together as one.
It's like Gushers.
Yeah, and the music says that. The music's at times it's kind of cheesy and it doesn't really fit.
It's like a kid's.
Yeah, it doesn't fit really with a horror film. But at the same time, these things happen and you're taken by it. You're like,
you know what?
Fuck, that could happen.
This movie.
It's like when you buy a Zenith Cube TV. You're like, it's a nice TV, but will it haunt me?
Or is it from the flea market? Does it have bed bugs?
You don't know.
But you know, the thing is, I think this movie it's one of those movies that hold up so well throughout the test of time. It really is. It's structured like there's two different kinds of horror movies, okay? And they're both equally good, but there's two different kinds. There's the gory, really good structured death scene movies, which have good stories too. And then there's just the classical horror movie. You know, so it's like a subgroup in the horror genre. And this is what this is. It's a well-structured story, very well told, good acting that makes it flow well and it's easy to watch and keeps you interested in it.
It's like a feel-good horror movie.
Yeah, and there's no, like, I guess when I was a little kid, maybe it scared me a little bit, but it's not, you don't watch this movie and think to be scared. You're just in for a really good movie. A lot like Insidious is a really good story, even though that's a lot fucking scarier.
It scares you in the way that if you're a kid and you imagine a scary movie, like, when you're a kid, you have no worries, you have no fears, you have no, I mean, you have a lot of fears, but they're distant. They're like weird, strange feels. Like, you could have this perfect, like, suburban life, like, everything's fine, but what if weird shit started to happen? And that's what this movie is, and I think that's why it connected on so many levels to people.
Yeah, because it's a middle-aged couple with a middle income, stuff like that, and they live in this nice little suburban neighborhood, and all this for no reason. This shit just starts happening, and a lot of the stuff that's in it, Steven Spielberg put in it because it scared him as a child, like the big creepy oak tree that comes through the window.
Everybody had that kind of thing.
And then the goddamn clown. I mean,
I used to wake up and it was storming. I'd wake up and I pissed my pants, and I'd be like, these are my Ninja Turtle underwear. It's storming outside, and I would duck past the window so that the lighting wouldn't hit me, but I'd be pissed off because my Ninja Turtle underwear were destroyed.
Go change your drawers, nasty fuck. Mr. Peabody. Yeah, but I mean, well, that's what he did. He put these child fears in the movie, and and I remember, little, like, when you're little, like, you could remember when you were scared of, like, stupid shit, when today you're like, well, I was a pussy. And it's like, no, you weren't. It was just little kid fear. Like, you were scared of a big oak tree outside your window that scratched at night. Or you were scared of the thunder, even though now Thunder Buddies, it doesn't happen anymore. But another thing, the clown. When I first saw that fucking clown, like that little creepy clown, I was like, did your parents hate you? I mean, like, why would you get that for your kid? Like, it's like, and they set it in the chair to face your bed. Yeah. And then he threw like a Star Wars
it's like
jacket
my daughter
on it.
now. I have to set up the ponies at all corners of the bed to face out, and she has this pet snake. It's not a pet snake, but it's a stuffed animal snake, and it pokes its head out just under the covers to protect her from bad things that happen.
I have a pet
It's
snake
that weird place. It's that weird place though when you're a kid. Yeah. That like even as a kid, when you don't understand how bad the world is, there's things that can hurt you. Yeah. And you have these things that protect you from it. And Poltergeist finds this perfect like medium to explain that and protect, and it follows that little world there. And it's like Insidious almost. Yeah. Only it's more explanatory. It's better than Insidious.
Well, see that's exactly my point. Even now, like, clown kind of freaks me the fuck out. Even now, like, it is more of an adult, like, scared. Why you're scared of clowns. But this movie really, it takes you back to your childhood. It's like, what made me scared of it? It's because they got that creepy maniacal laugh, and they're like, I'm gonna play with your dick. You know, like, or whatever.
It's like that freaky chick behind the bar on Saturday night.
I was remember when my brother and I had a picture, my mother put it up when we were like 12 years old. I don't know why she put that fucking picture up. It was a picture of the guy, it was a black guy in clown makeup, and it says, and he's blowing like a dandelion, and it says, don't worry, be happy. and you just see the side of his face, and he's going like that. And I mean, it scared the shit because every time I walked by, I thought the eyes were going.
Because you're racist deep down. That's why.
No, but it looked like the eyes were moving. It did.
Candyman.
You better not. But no, it really did. I was like, I get why it was scaring me. And like, you know, and this movie actually introduced me to the whole thing about if you count, you know, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3, and then the thunder goes away. Like I was raised on movies like this. Like it helped me.
Yeah.
But so I mean, but it was like everything about this movie is so well structured. I'll go back to that because it's never boring.
Yeah.
It's never boring, and you're always like interested in what's going to happen next.
Well, the family's a good family. It's a decent family. You got the dad from Coach, the mom. I can't remember her name. I can't think of it.
She's a great actress.
She's hot,
and she's
strong. Yeah, that scene was awesome, wasn't it? When like the dad and the mom are hanging out, and she's like, the parents are
like, cool as hell.
They're not assholes. Like she's smoking pot. They're like cool parents. It's like everybody in this movie is so likable. The whole family is so likable, and they're so grounded and down to earth and just normal people. Like you want them to succeed. You're rooting for them, whatever, and you get to see how they experience and stuff like that. And that's what makes this such a good movie. And she was really hot.
Dude, the whole thing. I loved that whole scene where she's smoking the pot, and like, he was like trying to roll it. He's like, just roll this. I can't do it. It's like all over his bed, and then he like gets up, and he's like, he's like looking at the mirror. He's like, I gotta dive. I was like, that's fucking awesome.
But it completely like destroys horror tropes. You know, like you've got these so many horror movies. Like everybody's gotta be an asshole. You've gotta be those. I just want to fuck bitches and do drugs. You got the asshole drunk dad. Like this movie, everybody was likable, and you're rooting for him, and nobody really dies. I mean, you're only rooting for the. You got the dad who was in Frasier, who was the asshole real estate agent who built built the shit on the Indian burial ground. But everybody was like they weren't perfect. But they were still good people, and it made it so realistic, and it made it so likable. And when they lose their daughter, when she disappears to this, like when this tree situation happens, you feel for them, you hurt for them. You're in the same situation as them. That's what makes it so good.
Well, the thing was, that I agree with that completely, and I think that the only downside I could see about it is the guy from Coach, the dad in this. You could tell that he was sickly. I mean, he was ill. Like he looked bad. The mother. And this is one of the few times, like maybe the only time in the movie that I was kind of like iffy on her acting, or like not maybe her acting, but the way they presented it. Because when they brought the parapsychologist over to start looking around their house and seeing what they could see, she was just kind of like, oh, I'll just call Carol Ann for you. Hello, and she just didn't look like any traumatic problems happened. Maybe that was a front. Maybe she was just doing it so that she. Yeah. But I mean, you're like the guy from Coach looked like he had one too many fucking briskets.
Yeah.
He was just like hungover.
And that's how you be in this situation. If my daughter got lost in the TV set, like I wouldn't sleep, I wouldn't go to work. I'd be a basket case. And sometimes there was those moments of like, shouldn't you be a little bit more upset? Should you care a little bit more, or whatever? And then you got the scene where the psychic. The whole family's in the house. They got the investigators there, and then the giant orb comes down. And at first, you're like, and that's one of my main gripes with this movie is that the special effects at certain points are really cheesy.
Well, when
they show the demons, and when they show the demons, like the one with the legs and it's got the head.
That was still kind of freaky, though.
It was kind of freaky, but at the same time, you're like, that looks cheap.
Why do you look like that? Aren't you supposed to be human? But see, I love that scene when they're like, I don't know what it is, but when they're building it up to that point, like once the point where. There's a part where you hear Carol Ann running through the house. She's like, "Mommy, help me, whatever." And then she goes down the stairs, and the mother's like, "I felt her go through me." And you hear that music. Awesome. That was great. And then you hear boom, boom, and then you hear someone stop at the top of the steps, and this big monster thing come down.
Yeah,
that was great. And then when the psychic gets there, she's like, she's under restraint, and it's like to her, it's simply another child. It lies to her, but to us, it's the beast. Yeah, like that was like it just gives you chills. Like holy fuck, because this little bitch woman. Oh my god damn, I want to hug you, put you in my pocket like a go-kart. All right,
it does that perfectly. That whole scene's perfectly, and at certain times, but sometimes they inject a little bit too much Spielberg. They inject a little bit too much Hollywoodism. The ghosts look fake. They're over the top. They're way too much.
Well, they look like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and it's too much, and you feel like in the music gets kind of cheesy.
I like
high tone, but at certain points the music's creepy and perfect. Like at certain points they got a little bit too
Hollywoodish.
Debate. At certain points, thank you, Stan. Mm-hmm. At certain points, they got a little bit too Hollywoodish with it, but for the most part, 90% of the movie, it worked perfectly. I mean,
yeah, well, that's the thing is, I think that the special effects they had in '82, what they could work with, and I mean, maybe they did, maybe they set a precedence like how they use some of those ghosts. If you look at like when you're talking about the big demon ghost when it has its weird legs and look like a freaking
like a dog or spider,
or spider or what are they praying mantis? It was like, wow. But that if you say maybe that was a precedence for how Ivan Reitman did it in Ghostbusters 1 because it came out 2 years later.
Yeah.
I mean I don't know. I mean, but still the special effects they didn't rely on it so much that it suffered. The story didn't suffer. And really, this movie is more of maybe it's a dark fairy tale.
Well, and they could have went deeper into the creepiness of it. I mean, they could have
made it scarier.
They could have made it scarier. They could have went a little bit more into the dark ages of it, and they didn't. But what made it fun was like the second psychic that came in, the little tiny woman.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
That was the only psychic that came in.
Oh, whatever. She was, but she came in and she was like, Ace Ventura. I never realized until I watched it again that Ace Ventura scene where he texts us like, "This house is clean." Like, she was corny.
But she worked for the movie.
But she worked. And that whole, like, they go through that pink slide and they come out the other side. Like, they were throwing shit after shit after shit at you. But they still somehow tied it in and made it work. And it was like the Insidious of that generation, even though Insidious doesn't match up to this movie quite as much. But this movie makes Insidious better.
I think actually
because it tied into that vein.
Somebody said it like this. They said it, and I actually agree with it. I relate to it. They said maybe this was The Exorcist for kids.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see that.
I can see that.
And you know, the thing was, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to pick who's my favorite actress, but I guess his coach. He was so believable as this concerned dad. Like, when they come from that pink goop and he's like, no! And he's like, breathe, baby, breathe. I was just like, God, breathe, motherfucker. Like, you know, it's just like the whole thing.
I got emotional. I mean, as a dad, I got emotional in those scenes because I remember it took me back to.
I got emotional for your kid.
I know. But, when my daughter was born, like, you weren't sure what was going to happen, and she came out, and I lost my shit and went banana shit. But when the girl comes out and she breathes for the first time, I got emotional. I felt like I was in that situation. Well, it was like, that's my kid. You don't know what's going to happen. You see her for the first time again, and when she takes that first breath, you lose your shit completely. And I felt that. I was in that moment.
And that's when they played up the music perfectly with that.
That's so hard to grab.
Because the music was that childlike music that they raised up. It's kind of triumphant music.
Yeah.
So they all played. It all tied together. It was orchestrated so well that you could definitely say, okay, Steven Spielberg had a big time hand in this, along with Tobe Hooper, who's an amazing director as well. So they all were able. And it's surprising because Tobe Hooper is more for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and those kind of like gory ass movies, and he did something like this that was so clean, but was executed so well.
Even today, like this movie is a testament to people like Steven Spielberg and the big name people in Hollywood. I mean, Ethan Hawke's doing horror movies now. Brad Pitt did World War Z. This is a testament to why it's not a bad idea to take big money and big studio stuff and big actors and put your efforts into horror movies because it can actually garner a realistic, genuine response.
That's what I think that Steven Spielberg at one point said. We can make a horror movie, and it doesn't have to be stupid or silly or moronic or non-believable or all these fantastic things happening to something that can never happen. I mean, it could be ground. I mean, Poltergeist activity. Apparently, it's documented very well in paranormal circles. I mean, this shit could happen. I mean, I don't know about the TV static. I know white noise, the EVPs and shit. I get that, but I don't know about the praying mantis demon face. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? But. And another thing that was so great, the acting chops were so. I keep going back because it was so good. The acting was so awesome. Like the dramatic scenes when they like when Coach has the. I'm gonna call him Coach. When Coach has the rope and she's like the girl was like telling him to come into the light. And he's like, no, you said. He's like Diane, and he starts screaming and pulling, and she's like, not yet, Steven. And then all of a sudden that big fucking face comes in. That was great. I was like, holy shit.
And that's another thing. This movie, watching it on Blu-ray, and definitely it's a definite buy.
Yeah, it looks really good.
When you're watching it on Blu-ray, did you not think, where we just watched it, did it not remind you of The Shining? The way The Shining looks on Blu-ray, the clear shots, the way it looks and stuff like that. Definitely buy this movie on Blu-ray. It's a 9.0 for me. It's a great freaking movie, and I think that a lot of current horror movies could learn from a movie like this.
I'm gonna give it a 10. I think it's one of those movies it's one of those rare movies that I could pick up and watch over and over and over again, and still have fun watching it. And every Halloween, it's got to be a mainstay in your stack. You got to have that movie at least watch one time. If you've never seen it, I don't know. What you done? Are you possessed, fucker? Go see it. I mean, you gotta go see it. I said go see it. I mean, that's how excited
Go catch it.
It's really
dick
penny, but it's one of those movies that really, like you said, it holds up testament of time. It's got good acting, it's got solid special effects, it's got a great story, a structured story, and it's fun. And even the reveal at the end when you find out that the asshole built this neighborhood on top of a graveyard and just decided to move the headstones.
It's a perfect horror trope, matches actual scary.
And that makes sense because he's like, and see these coffins bursting up through the fucking ground, and he just moved the headstones and not the body.
But it's got that, when that happens, it's like Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
it's like Indiana Jones meets horror, right, Stan?
I was in one of those coffins.
It really feels that way because like she's in the water and they're popping up, and you're like, this is exciting, this is an adventure, but I'm also scared, but I'm also wondering what the fuck's happening inside.
Did you kind of get like a little bit of a wood or erotic when she was like sliding in that mud?
No, but I did want to have sex with her.
When she was wearing that friggin' nightie.
She was a great actress.
And then she was like in the mud, I was like, you want to wrestle?
It's a rare thing when an actress can step point, I want to have sex with you, but you're also doing a great job.
He was hot.
Yeah, but that's what that was.
I mean, a 10, a 9. I mean, it's either way, even if we're like a little bit off on score, it's still one of the classic movies that you could never have asked for a better movie from Steven Spielberg for a horror movie.
Right. I wish they would do more.
He could do it. I mean, I'm sure Steven Spielberg could introduce like a fucking genuinely terrifying
Brings me to my question of the day, guys. Question of the day. Do you think the remake, they're doing a remake of this, it's got Sam Rockwell in it, who's an amazing actor.
I like Sam Rockwell.
Number one, do you guys think that the remake is going to do well? What do you expect your rating will be of the remake when it comes out? And number two, what do you give, obviously, the original Poltergeist movie? How does it rank among you? Does it scare you? What do you give it as a movie, as total? Like, what is your rating of the Poltergeist? What do you think the remake's going to do?
I think that the remake could be good, but I don't think it's going to be the same kind of movie.
No.
Because the thing is, with that movie was made, it was the perfect storm. They were able to do it with just the right kind of the cast. They had the right cast. They had the right director. They had the right producer.
But the thought, when I know that they're hiring Sam Rockwell to do this, it gives me a lot of hope.
Do you are you getting tired of these remakes though? Aren't you kind of wishing that they would start doing it? Insidious is brand new. Sinister is brand new.
Yeah, but the way I see it is, you know what? It's just more. Even if it ends up not being good, like I want another Halloween movie.
I do too.
If it ends up not being good, it ends up not being good. But you've still got that fun moment of excitement when you're going to the theater and you're excited. Even if you get let down, you have that moment of hope.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna be one of those things that'll flash back to your child. Like, I remember that part. Oh, do you remember that part? It's like you tell your MJ's like, no,
yeah, because I mean we didn't.
It's like, shut up.
We didn't get to experience shit like this in the theater, so I'm okay with the remakes and stuff like that for the most part. I mean, until they totally destroy them. Even if they suck like Nightmare on Elm Street, I still had hope going to see the movie. I still had a good time leading up to the movie, so therefore I don't hate that they made it. It just happened to suck. I don't remember if they did or not, but I think they did. I just can't remember who it was. But so that's it, guys.
What if they got Michael Bay?
I'm Mike. He's Jay.
That's scary.
He's Stan, and we'll see you guys next time on
Time Warner Business Class.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie.